Hi everyone. Today's lesson in the Course in Miracles is I place the future in the hands of God. Placing the future in the hands of God is the same as saying I'm determined to be here now. And as a human being, you are never, ever here and now. It's not what you are, because if you were here and now, you would jump out in heaven, you'd be gone. Right? Being here and now is the closest you can get to eternity. But that's not how you are as a human being on this planet, in space-time. You're constantly anticipate the future. You're constantly being preoccupied with the past. That's just what the thinking of the world is. Right? So this new way of thinking that's being handed to you in this mind training course, right, workbook, teaches you to think in an entirely new way. Right? And as we talked about, it is your thoughts, right, that affect you. You're affected only by your thoughts, right? It's your thoughts that bring you the misery, right? And it's your thoughts that can set you free if you learn to think in a different way. Okay. This says today's idea takes another step towards quick salvation, and a giant stride it is indeed. So great the distance is that it encompasses, it sets you down just short of heaven, with the goal in sight and obstacles behind. In other words, this is as close as you can get before the truth, right? Which is the entire purpose of this Course in Miracles. No, so he doesn't say that just because it sounds good. He says that because he means it. This is the truth of the matter. Beautiful. How far are we progressing now from Earth? How close are we approaching our goal? How short the journey still to be pursued? Now listen to the next couple of lines. Accept today's idea. I place the future in the hands of God. And you have passed all anxiety, all pits of hell, all blackness of depression, thoughts of sin, and devastation brought about by guilt. Accept today's idea, and you've released the world from all imprisonment by loosening the heavy chains that lock the door to freedom on it. Beautiful, right? He said, no, accept that idea. It's impossible to be fearful. It's impossible to be worried. It's impossible to be angry. That's the offering of A Course in Miracles. He means it, right? This is not some hairy-fairy, nice statement that sounds good, but in essence is not true. He means this. He says, now listen to this. In no one instant is depression felt or pain experienced or loss perceived. What? That's not possible. Depression, pain, and loss are the results of the past, or the future, if you will, which is the same idea. But any moment but now, right? When you bring the past or the future in this present moment, you completely miss the moment. But without the past, without the future, you can't experience pain. You can't experience loss. You can't be depressed. It always has to do with the mind being preoccupied with anything but the present moment. In no one instant can one even die. Well, surely he doesn't mean that. Well, he means it. In no one instant can one even die. It's impossible to die right here, right now. If you're right here, right now, you cannot die. And so each instant given unto God in passing, with the next one given him already, is a time of your release from sadness, pain, and even death himself. And he means it. This is the truth, right? God holds your future as he holds your past and present. They're one to him. And so they should be one to you. Yet in these worlds, right, the temple progression still seems real. Correct? Time seems to pass here, right? Let's be honest for a moment. So you're not asked to understand the lack of sequence really found in time, right? You're not asked like, hey, just imagine what it would be without time. You can't, right? You live in time. However, you are but asked to let the future go and place it in God's hands. That you can do. You can be right here, right now and say, wait a minute, I'm not going to worry about what's going to come. I'm going to be right here, right now and fully trust in God. The one thing that you never intended to do. Right? And you will see by your experience that you've laid the past and present in his hands as well, because the past will punish you no more and future dread will now be meaningless. Where's the past when you let it go, and you're not concerned about the future if you let that go as well? It truly is a trusting, isn't it? You're going to have to trust your source. Not to mention the fact that he's your source, right? Right? You cannot possibly be separate from him, and there's nothing outside of him, right? The whole idea that you can be distrustful and separate from your source once you wake up is so preposterous, right? That you start laughing about it because it's just not true, right? You know it's not true, and you know you can trust your source, but in your definition of yourself, you do not trust God. You like to, or maybe you think you do, right? But then you start planning for the future just in case, right? He can be trusted. Love that. Release the future, for the past is gone, and what is present, freed from its bequest of grief and misery, of pain and loss, becomes the instant in which time escapes the bondage of illusions, where it runs its pitiless, inevitable course. Beautiful. Let go of that, and right here, right now is your complete release from the past and the present. Sorry, the past and the future, because that's the only thing you need release from. Right? Into this present moment, you always bring your past. And because you always bring your past, you think that you can't trust what's coming up, so you start planning for your future. It's the same idea. Beautiful. If you can see the lesson for today as the deliverance it really is, you will not hesitate to give as much consistent effort as you can to make it be a part of you. As it becomes a thought that rules your mind, I love this. Listen to this. As it becomes a thought that rules your mind, a habit in your problem solving repertoire, a way of quick reaction to temptation, you extend your learning to the world. And as you learn to see salvation in all things, so will the world perceive it that it's saved. That's really the entire mind training. That whatever is happening, your first reaction will be to go back to the lesson, to the way you think now, right? You're confronted with something, no? And you go like, well, this seems to be a problem, right? Whereas before you would have gotten upset, right? You would have gotten angry or fearful or whatever. It would have really upset you. Now you go like, okay, I can see that I need help with this, right? I don't know how to solve this. I'm going to ask for help, but I know that the help is with me and I'm going to trust that. Beautiful. What a lesson, huh? Place then your future in the hands of God, for thus you call the memory of Him to come again, replacing all your thoughts of sin and evil with the truth of love. Beautiful. That's really it. Think of sin as separation, right? Sin is separation. You think you're separate from God, but you're not. Right? That's the whole Course in Miracles. The realization that you're not separate, that you're waking up with the memory of God resurfacing within your mind, that nothing has happened, but that you put yourself to sleep, right? And now you're learning to trust again. You're learning to relax into this moment. You're learning to let everything go. You learn to step back and trust that corrective principle that's in you, right? It is an entirely new way of thinking. The world doesn't know about this, right? All the world teaches you that you better take care of that little idea of yourself, the way you define yourself, but that's not what you are. And what is it that you're trying to protect, right? It has no reality. That concept, that self-concept, that self-identity has no reality. You've been given everything. Huh? And as you learn to trust that, a relaxation sets in, a peace sets in, and the joy that comes with it, right? Because you're accepting yourself as God created you. You're accepting yourself as you truly are. That's this lesson. That's really what every lesson is. But every lesson just takes a little different form, doesn't it? But it truly is the here and now that offers you that. I love you. Have a great, great day, wherever, whenever you are. And I'll see you all.